Hey, what's going on, guys? Kalamazi here, and in this week's Warcraft beta build, Warlock got a pretty big amount of changes again. Overhaul version 7.0. So today, we're going to be looking at that in this video, talking about the changes. I'm actually really happy with these. This is probably like the best change we've gotten, and there's been a lot of good ones. This is like really solid. Lock feels insane. Covering these today, looking at Demo Destro AF, and going from there. Now, this week, I'm going to have a series coming out, one video on Demo, one Destro, one AF, as long as I can get things done and all that. Looking at each spec, talent build-wise and combat, single target, AoE, breaking them all down and comparing them so you guys can get a good idea where they're all at tuning-wise now, and go from there. Also, no raid testing this week, but the War Within beta Warlock spreadsheet will indeed be live in a few days. If you guys would like early access to that, the tier 3 failure rank or higher on Patreon does indeed get that. There's a link up here. Should be a link up here down below in the description. And yeah, with that being said, let's get into it. Alrighty, so getting into the changes here. First things first, they added a new icon for Soul Harvester, which is very cool. It's like a Zul Harak, whatever that thing's name was, and Hellfire Citadel kind of icon. Very cool. I think Hellcaller and Diabolist are... here's Diabolist. I think Hellcaller doesn't have one yet either. But this is pretty cool. Soul Harvester stuff. Pretty neat. So Blizzard put out a post today. I also had a blue post talking about why they're changing things for Warlock. I'll read over briefly. Then we'll look at the changes and talk about what it might change in general. So the build contains several changes that have been implemented based off feedback, which is cool to see. There's still some bugs working out. They said, without further ado, let's talk about what we're doing it. Demonology. We've redesigned Doom to be passive, like in Season 3 and 4, tier set wise. Basically what you have in S3 or S4 currently is what Doom's going to be, pretty much, in War Within. The primary reason for this change is to reduce the increased number of actions per minute we observe during playtesting, which is basically Doom sniping, right? When you had the button to hit. Additionally, Demonology has a lot of plates to spin as it is, and it felt that adding additional cooldown to watch was a bit much. I don't know, maybe a little bit, but hey, honestly, reducing complexity of some things is okay. I think this is more than fine. It's also because of this reason we've removed the cooldown reduction from Power Siphon, from Blood Invocation. Basically, we didn't play that, it's fine, for the most part. Blood Invocation causes a desync with most Demonology's cooldowns. No big deal, really. But so I assumed if they're going to change Doom, it would be because of the Doom like low health. Apply Doom to a low health mob, it pops off cooldown. Apply it again and then again and again. Playstyle, which is what they're citing here. Basically, what you have with Doom is a passive now. They've changed some talents around it too. We'll look at that in a minute. It is basically our tier bonus from S4. We have on retail currently, so you can have multiple Dooms active. It is buggy currently on beta, so you can't really have them all active at the same time guaranteed, but it's basically that. I think what they had, the previous version of Doom where you could, hit it as a button, was actually really good. Probably the best version they could get to, with it being an applicable debuff, but in the end, this is probably the best they could do with like just passive effects. So Destro, a big one here, very exciting. Summon Infernal has returned to the center of the Destro tree to serve as a powerful cooldown for players to look forward to unlocking while leveling. I'm not sure we keep referencing leveling here. I don't care, it's fine, it's cool, I don't mind it. I feel like out of all the things in game to reference as a reason to change Infernal and move it around, leveling is the last I'd reference, but hey, it's funny, it's cool. There is some merit to that, I guess. They moved Dimensional Rift back to where it was in the bottom of the tree. Look at that in a minute. And they added some cleave rifts to it talent-wise, which is also very cool. They made... the Infernal brand is gone. Wasn't really good in general. And they make Crashing Chaos and Reign of Chaos a choice node below Infernal. So look at that in a minute here. And, well, go from there. So, getting into the actual changes here. I'm trying to find Warlock for us. A decent bit to read over. So let me zoom in more here. Basically, what we have, yep, that works. Try and find Warlock here. Warlock, there we go. All right, so hero talents. So the cast time of Infernal Bolt has been increased to 2 seconds. Was 1 second. This is increased because there is a weird, with it being so short and being affected by other cooldown reductions, it made a weird like spell queue window. It made it funky being as fast as it was. 2 seconds is fine. It needs to have a global, like a GCD added to it probably, but this is actually like a better way to do things. It's probably a buff, or it's a buff to like quality of life, having it be a longer cast time. More than fine, it's okay. Ruination damage now reduced beyond 8 targets. This is the big green meteor that comes out from your Pit Lord as Diabolist when you're playing those specs. What's going to happen, this thing destroys everything. It's very strong, still very strong, being basically square rooted beyond 8 targets. Does a lot of damage still. Very cool to see. Overlord, Mother of Chaos, and Pitlord are now visible to other players at a reduced scale and will retain their original scale for the summoner. Very cool. I like that a lot because it's cool like playing Diabolist when you're the Warlock, but like if you're not the Warlock, if you're a warrior or a Shadow Priest or whatever, you don't really see the Warlock doing a whole lot like visually. I don't know. It seems cool like seeing the demons are summoning and how it's like helping the group and progressing through things and all that. It's pretty sick. Good change there. Also, clogging up melee. Let's give him a mechanic. Uh, but jokes aside, Overlord now charges its target as well whenever it comes out versus leaping. Mother Chaos's ability has been updated. It just lasts longer. But it's cool. Hellcaller. So big change here to Hellcaller. Seeds of their Demise has been redesigned for destruction. Blackened soul damage increased by 30%, which is fine. The thing that changed here, when Blackened Soul deals damage, you have a chance to gain 2 stacks of Flashpoint. This previously was when it dealt damage, you would summon an Overfiend, the green Smolderon. This is what was giving Destra with insane charge gen last week in testing and all that. We knew it wouldn't last. They either like reduce the proc rate, give it a chance to summon it, reduce or nerf the Overfiend, so on and so forth somewhere, or just remove it in general. They decided to remove it in general, which it is what it is, honestly. This does free up some pathing when certain builds to skip Flashpoint, like in single target. I guess you'd like to, depending if they change things around, but I wouldn't mind seeing Flashpoint return to its 2-point talent rank. I believe it's 4% per stack. At 2 out of 2 points versus 1 in Warthin. Currently it's 2% per stack, which feels, I think it's 2, which feels pretty unimpactful. A 4% haste increase, but even like 3% would be okay, like 3, 6, and 9. But 2, 4, 6 feels odd. Either way, this does stack, so you get like it can proc and reproc, and it will stack to 3, so on and so forth. So there's that. In the end, it's going to happen, but it still feels okay. It honestly probably isn't that bad overall. I don't know what this even is, but there's that. Yeah, I don't know what it is. New talent, Gorfiend's Resolve. This is the old one we had in our class tree, basically. The one that gave you a faster soul stone, or sorry, more health and mana when you resurrect somebody with a soul stone. So there's that. Spirited Away was the Burning Rush one that put a cooldown on Burning Rush. It's gone. Wasn't gonna be played. So, Affliction. Some of the big changes coming in here. Affliction. Death's Embrace has been redesigned. It wasn't actually redesigned. What they did to Death's Embrace, let me just hop into game here and show you these talents at the same time. What they did to Death's Embrace was not actually redesign it, but they buffed it. So, let me hop over to like full screen mode here as well. We can try and figure this all out. Death's Embrace is now, it's still in the same spot, but you essentially have double the effect. So bear with me here. I'm sorry, I'm old. Find Warlock. There we go. Death's Embrace. Cool. Let's shrink this down a little bit so I can show y'all both here. There we go. Over here, Death's Embrace. Make it a little smaller. There we go. Pop it up here. Close enough. We're making progress here. I promise. I'm not gonna edit this out because I'm too tired. Cool. Death's Embrace. So Death's Embrace. Basically, it used to be 5% damage increase to rapture all stuff when your target was below 20% health. Now it's, yeah, it says right here. Now it's 10 at 35. So the old Death's Embrace was 35 or lower percent. It would kick in, and it would increase the damage abilities. I think it was most of your abilities, like Drain Soul, old UA stacking dots. I think it would ramp to like 40% or something like that back in the day. It would basically ramp harder and harder the lower the mob was when it came to health, right? So doubling Death's Embrace value from 5 to 10 and increasing the threshold makes this relevant. It's likely going to be played in single target, and most settings we want this. Probably it's probably worthwhile. It's better than playing this, or like, probably better than this. So it's solid. It makes it relevant, and I'm curious to see where it lands in Sims, but overall, I'll take it. Death's Embrace is sick. Not the old version, but still, take it. We're getting there. So Malediction been redesigned. Redesigned meaning reverted. The last week they changed this to be you gain 10% more crit from all sources to your dots, or whatever. So basically, if you had like 20% crit passively, you gain 2%. Just 10% of 20 is 2%, right? They changed it to be that last week, which is a huge nerf to it. They reverted it back to being a flat 10% for Agony Corruption UA. So they reverted it back once again. I mean, it's good once again, but unfortunately we have a lot of problems in this row again because pathing is so awkward in here when it goes essentially 2, 2, 2, 2, essentially 2, essentially 2, and overtuned. So like I'm not playing Dark Lair anywhere currently. Hopefully that changes, but overall good change, but needs to be reduced to 1 talent points here. A big change here for AF as well. Malign Omen and Dark Harvest have swapped positions. This is actually huge. The biggest change AF got today, I think, overall. Very excited about it. So it used to be Dark Harvest was here and Malign Omen was here. So you had to path through Dark Harvest to get to Malign Omen, which I didn't think was terrible in the first place, but when I first saw it. But when playing with it, I realized, I mean, I knew Malign Omen was good in single target either way, but playing with it, I realized if I'm playing Oblivion and things, I can get a full Oblivion channel, some Raptures in, and then get more Raptures afterwards with Malign Omen and single target. I'm playing Dark Lair and all that. Just in general, Malign Omen feels great in single target, but it felt bad pathing through Dark Harvest to get it. Now, no longer the issue. Malign Omen is right below Soul Rot, which is very, very, very cool. Also, a lot of this feedback here was hit on in the feedback document we put out, and other people put out as well. Very cool to see Blizzard looking at feedback and making changes based on that. Very cool to see quality of life through the roof, which is, well, very, very cool. Getting into demonology stuff here. So, not a whole lot really changed for demo. Most of it is based around Doom, which we'll get to here. So, Doom and demo. Doom is now essentially a passive. I mean, it is a passive. It is our tier bonus from S4. When Demon Bolt consumes a demonic core, it inflicts impending doom. It applies a debuff, basically. It will do damage to enemies around the target when it pops, and the main target damage reduced beyond 8 targets. Consuming a demonic core reduces the duration of doom by 2 seconds. The ability right here, Doom Eternal, reduces it by 2 additional seconds. It used to be 3 seconds. Now it's 2, but it's fine either way. It's still more than you get on retail currently, if you look at it that way, and all that. Now, unfortunately, our Doom Guard is still not volleying Shadow Bolts. It's single target, likely intended behavior, which is unfortunate. Hopefully they add the volley back to it, but they probably should, because this is basically our tier bonus now. But we'll see where that goes. They changed Impending Doom as well. So this is now increasing Doom damage by 30%, which you want probably in AoE and things. You're playing as talent, and it summons a Wild Imp when Doom expires. You can have multiple Dooms active with this version of Doom. It's essentially Doom brand, so you can spawn multiple imps if they're expiring. I'm going to fly to a dummy here and show you as well. Now, there's some cool things happening with Doom, like I was saying, when it comes to combat and stuff, right? So now, Doom is sort of buggy on dummies, not currently. I'm going to try and show you what happens here. Number one, if you have multiple Dooms rolling, like on 3 different mobs here, you can't have multiples active at once. You can. If you cast a Demon Bolt on one of them, it will indeed reduce them all, which is very cool. Number two, and probably the coolest thing here, they've added like smart Doom technology. So basically, I'm going to cast Doom right here, a bolt to apply Doom. There's Doom. So watch the duration tick down here. I need a core, actually. Hopefully dogs have a core here. Watch the duration tick down here. I'm going to cast a Doom, or a Demon Bolt, which should consume 4 seconds of Doom when it gets to like 2 seconds, right? Watch this. So we're going to wait, we're going to cast it now. It consumes the Doom, pops it, and reapplies the Doom. That is massive. Massive. Because you're not sitting here holding a demonic core, waiting for your Doom to expire to then redoom, right? Oh, Doom's like 2 seconds or whatever. Well, you know, gotta wait for it. If that was gonna be the case, whatever, gotta wait for it. No, it will literally consume the effect and then apply Doom again. Super smart change, or a super smart, like, implementation, whatever. Very, very good quality life. Awesome to see. Sitting on a core sucks. Thankfully, with that implementation, not gonna have to. Very, very cool. Awesome change, or I guess awesome implementation. Good to see. Infernal Presence is the dog, the fire dog. He was nerfed by half. He was too good. He was best in single target and best in AoE by a long shot. He was gonna get nerfed. It is what it is. Still, dogs are very cool. Happens. It's tuning. Welcome to beta. The last thing here, Blood Invocation has been redesigned. They just made it so it doesn't give you a... Oh, sorry, it's this. Doesn't give you a cooldown reduction on Power Siphon. It's the same thing. Didn't even really play it anywhere from what I had seen. So that is basically Demonology. Now, getting into Destro changes here. There weren't a whole lot, but the ones they put in were pretty impactful. So Destro, new talent, Unstable Rifts, which is like not really new again, but I mean, you know, it's, you know, something. Basically, we talked about it already. Infernal and Dimensional Rift have swapped spots in the tree again. Rifts are once again down here. Dimensional Rift, same 3 rifts here. They've added Unstable Rifts, which is the cleave part of D-Rift. It causes them to have embers that cleave, which is needed for this to be relevant in AoE. And they've put Dimensional Ripper right here. They moved things around in here as well. They've moved Ruin from here to over here. They put Chaos Incarnate from here, or I think it was here to here, and bumped this up a row. Now, the unfortunate part with Dimensional Ripper is that there's no extra like reset clause when you're playing Fire and Brimstone or AoE. You don't get like more Rift recharges whenever you're cleaving 5 Incinerates or whatever you're cleaving, right? Which is unfortunate. Probably should have that, like, you know, a lesser, an increased percent, but like not like a, I don't know, like 1 Incinerate gives like a 20% chance, and 2 is like 35, 3 is like 45, 4 is like 50%. Maybe not those numbers, is too high, but like a stacking, but like not square root the higher chance, whatever. You know what I mean? Like it shouldn't be the same thing for Fire and Brimstone Incinerates and non-Fire and Brimstone Incinerates. Unfortunately, the damage in these rifts is very, very subpar right now, and this is a very low proc chance. I'm not playing it all really anywhere, but adding the Cleave Rift back is step, you know, 2 or 3 of 4 or 5, getting Rift to be where it needs to be. I wouldn't mind seeing Fire Rift tacked onto here, and having it be these 4 rifts, and having this as a cleave part. I want this to be Immolate, like our tier bonus. I get that it used to be a thing as well with Incinerate back in the day, but I think it works a lot better with Immolate, or Wither, and you know, just that. But we'll see where that goes. At the same time, you have a chance to spawn a rift now if you're pathing from Embers through here, if you're not playing Rift in general, so that's sort of cool. If you don't play Rifts, maybe it's worth putting a point here. It's like your 10th point. We'll see where that goes in Sims, but, you know, that is that. So Chaos Incarnate also been redesigned. So they added these words here to Chaos Incarnate, because the way Chaos Incarnate, or the way Destro Mastery works, you gain a baseline 50%, up to 100% of your mastery as bonus damage for each Shadow Bolt, Rain of Fire, or Chaos Bolt, Rain of Fire, or Shadow Burn you cast. It would random roll, throw the dice. Sometimes you roll 50, sometimes you roll 100, but the average between 50 and 100 is 75. The way this worked before was that it would always guarantee 70%. The words "at least" didn't exist, so guaranteeing 70% meant that you actually nerfing yourself playing this capstone. They've added the words "at least" here though. So at least means it's not 50 to 100, it's 70 to 100, which means the middle ground of 70 and 100 is 85. So it's actually 85 up from the baseline, no talent here, like not playing this, of 75. So it is a buff now. It is worth playing. It is not a nerf, I should say. It's worth playing, probably. By how much, I don't know. But it has been looked at. It's changed, and there is that. They moved Infernal here, back to the middle of the tree. Very good change, I think. They've combined Crashing Chaos and Reign of Chaos that we talked about. Unfortunately, just sort of is what it is. It used to be like Infernal. I think you had Infernal Brand here, Crashing here, and then Reign of Chaos here in like the Infernal section of the tree. But I mean, as cool as it'd be to have Reign of Chaos and Crashing Chaos and Infernal at 2 minutes, if it has to happen, it has to happen. And they said it has to happen. So, I mean, like, can they find ways to work around it? Possibly, but in the end, like, I think it's certainly worth compromising and doing this to have Infernal back here. 100%. Having Rift here, it wasn't going to work. Infernal back here, also for consistency across Destro, Demo, and AF, all having their major cooldowns in the middle of the tree, feels great. And in the end, look at my capstones here. I'm not playing any Rift stuff, but if Infernal's here, I feel like I gotta play Infernal. And then once again, I'm missing out on 2 different nodes that I really want, right? So overall, I think this is a good change. There's that. we need Infernal to path into these 2 nodes though. Because the problem I have in single target is I have a build like this, where I want to play Demon Fire Mastery, but I can't do it because I'm lacking points. And I want to play this. This is likely better in the long run. I don't want to play it on beta, but I can't get this because I want to get this. I want to take Flashpoint and put it here, but I can't because of pathing. I need to connect here. But it only connects to Fire and Brimstone or Flashpoint, which is both like AoE based, and like you have like a single target ability and like a, you know, haste ability, right? So what needs to happen is they need to make Infernal connect to Eradication and this node here, same as like, you know, Ruin and these things do, which is fine. And then you can take this point here and throw it over here and have this connect here and be more than fine. If that change comes in, this tree is in a very good spot. Some little things here and there obviously can change, but overall, I think pretty solid. The changes today are good. Oh, and they also increased RDF to now give you a much longer time on your Immolates or Withers, depending what you're doing, Hellcaller versus Diabolist. They didn't up the raw number of bolts that it fires. It's still 2, but they upped the duration, increased from 0.2 to 0.5, which is actually really smart because you added more bolts to it. If they did, it would give you a higher chance to reset Soulfire, which would be nice, but like, you know, tuning, got to keep that in mind. But if I kata these mobs, you can see how long the increase is casting a CDF. So let's go kata. Here's Wither. 20. Watch the CDF. It's like 7 or 8 seconds, man. It's pretty crazy. This does indeed guarantee permanent withers super easily in AoE when you're playing Cataclysm, as long as you're not playing Hate Fury. If you're playing Hate Fury, you can have permanent withers, but it's very, very tight casting your CDF. You have to cast it on cooldown basically every time. But you can see here, once again, CDF, they got 10 seconds left on them, roughly. I can kata again, right here. Bam. There you go. So, very cool. I love that quality of life. Love how it plays, how it flows. Cool to see. Awesome changes. And man, like, a lot of these changes are based on feedback that we wrote in stream, that other people have wrote on the feedback, you know, forum as well. Very cool to see. I want class tree changes still too. Hopefully they get to that, man. But honestly, dude, like, lock specs are feeling really good. And like, when it comes to rewriting feedback based on changes they're having every week, I'm finding less and less points to write feedback on because things are getting better and better, and they're already good. So keep cooking, because y'all are cooking up things in a good way, Blizz. So thanks for watching, guys. It wraps it up, and hopefully clarified any questions you might have had about the changes that hit Warlock today in beta. I gotta say, honestly, lock feels good. Every spec feels good in combat. Hero talents feel great. Hellcaller is a bit more exciting to me than Diabolist and Soul Harvester, but both Diabolist or Diabolist and Soul Harvester also feel great. Having that button you can hit in Malevolence, which is like a little Dark Soul on a minute cooldown, feels insane. And I haven't enjoyed playing Lock this much in a very long time. Lock feels great. If you're looking at playing a class or considering one for War Within, I would highly encourage you to play Lock on beta and get a feel for it, because it feels very good. Like always, any weak orders add-ons on the video, links to Twitch and Discord below, where you can get them all for free for you guys. Get them all for free. Yeah. And also before I end the video, like always, a shout out to my patrons for all support on Patreon. Y'all, thank you a million times. Like always, I really appreciate it. Everything that's supporting on Patreon should be linked up here, as well as down below in the video description. There's also a rumored date of July 30th going around, being the actual pre-patch for War Within, which, if that's true, we have literally 5 or so weeks until pre-patch, which is actually mind-boggling. This alpha and beta, and especially this beta, is like a PTR. Which is like a good thing and a bad thing to me, but overall, it's, I mean, Lock's in a great spot, a phenomenal spot, I think. Some changes here and there could still be done. Probably some feedback updates in a few days, but yeah, well, all that being said, we're fun to play. We're good, and I'm relatively happy, pretty happy. So, all that being said, thanks for watching, guys. If you like the video, hit the like and sub buttons below. It helps out a ton, and I will catch you all again soon on stream. Peace.